Ray is one of the most lovable characters in The Princess and the Frog. His clumsy yet passionate nature won over audiences, but there's something intriguing about him, his unconditional love for Evangeline. For those who don't remember, Ray spends the entire movie talking about his beloved, who is actually a star. But what if Evangeline wasn't just a metaphor for an impossible love? What if she had been a real person? The theory suggests that Evangeline in life was Ray's wife. There is a popular belief that when we die, we become shining stars in the sky. This would explain why Ray refers to Evangeline so romantically and respectfully, as if she were much more than just a speck of light in the sky. But this leads to another question. If Evangeline was a human who became a star, could Ray have also been human before becoming a firefly? If Ray was indeed once human, how did he transform into a firefly? The theory points to an obvious culprit, Dr. Facilier himself. We know that Facilier turned Naveen into a frog and constantly deceived people to take their wealth. What if Ray in his human form also fell into the villain's trap? The theory suggests that Ray was a wealthy or powerful man, just like Naveen, and that he was tricked by Facilier into making a deal that ultimately turned him into a firefly. But unlike Naveen, Ray never managed to break the curse. Over time, he lost his memory and humanity, fully accepting his new life as an insect. And do you know what makes this theory even more bizarre? If Ray truly made a deal with Facilier, this would explain why the villain crushes him with such anger. It wasn't just because Ray was interfering with his plans. Facilier might have recognized his old adversary and decided to eliminate him once and for all. The theory suggests that, just as Naveen and Tiana gradually began acting more like frogs, Ray spent so much time as a firefly that he completely forgot his human life. This would explain why he never talks about his past as a human, because he simply doesn't remember it. This idea makes sense when we look at Naveen and Tiana. At the beginning of the movie, they still retain their personalities and can communicate with humans. But over time, they start adapting to their new forms and even behaving like real frogs. If this effect is real, it means that Ray may have been transformed a long time ago, so long that his mind became entirely that of a firefly. His humanity would have been lost, leaving only his deepest emotions, like his love for Evangeline. This would also explain a curious detail. At Tiana and Naveen's wedding in the bayou, Charlotte, who previously understood them, can no longer hear their words. This reinforces the idea that the longer they remain transformed, the more they truly become animals. Now we arrive at one of the most emotional moments of The Princess and the Frog, Ray's death. After being brutally crushed by Facilier, he is given a heartfelt farewell by his friends. But what happens next is what truly strengthens this theory. As everyone pays their respects, something surprising happens. A new star appears in the sky, right next to Evangeline. The character's reaction is one of pure astonishment. If all fireflies automatically became stars after death, this wouldn't be such a shocking event, right? But on the contrary, everyone seems surprised to see Ray shining in the sky. This reinforces the idea that only humans transform into stars in this universe. If Evangeline was also a human who became a star, it makes sense that Ray underwent the same process. Moreover, there's another curious detail. Ray's star closely resembles the blue fairy's star in Pinocchio. Some theories suggest that the star in The Princess and the Frog is actually the same magical entity that has appeared in other Disney films. Could Evangeline have been a fairy godmother and Ray her devoted human lover? Now that we've explored all the points supporting this theory, it's time to analyze them more critically. And unfortunately for those who believed in the idea, there are some flaws that ultimately debunk it. First, if Ray had really been human and had a past with Facilier, why is this never mentioned in the film? Facilier is a manipulative villain, and if Ray was someone he had previously made a deal with, we would have at least some hint of this in the story. But there is no indication that the two knew each other before the events of the film. Additionally, the argument that Ray forgot his humanity over time doesn't hold up completely. That's because Ray mentions his firefly grandmother. If he had been a transformed human, that would mean his entire family had experienced something similar, which doesn't make sense within the movie's narrative. Another point that weakens the theory is Ray's death itself. Facilier didn't kill the firefly out of revenge, but because Ray was interfering with his plans. If he had harbored a deep grudge from the past, the villain would have said something or shown some kind of reaction upon seeing him again. But there is no evidence of this. And as for Ray's transformation into a star? Well, while it is an emotional and symbolic moment, it doesn't necessarily mean he was human before. Disney frequently uses stars to represent the spirits of those who have passed, without implying that they were all once human. In the end, as interesting and romantic as this theory is, the plot holes are too big for us to consider it true. Ray was always a firefly, and his love story with Evangeline is a metaphor for pure, unconditional love, regardless of differences between them. But now I want to know, do you agree that this theory has been debunked, or do you still believe in it? Leave your opinion in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content about Disney animation theories and curiosities. See you in the next video.